Chapter 22, Float On, Float On, Float On. The years 1977 and 1979 were the lowest point of my life. I allowed drugs to rule my consciousness and render me an addict. Much of my existence in one fashion or another was connected to drugs. Having used marijuana, angel dust, LSD, barbiturates, cocaine, thigh stick, and glue, none of these were more chronic than Sherm, a cigarette soap, phencyclidine, better known as PCP. The first time I was introduced to this powerful drug, it rocked me to the core. While walking toward the liquor store for some orange juice, Calhoun and Avalon Garden Crip and I deterred through an alley and puffed on a Sherm. It was an immediate high that scared the hell out of me, and I told Calhoun never again to offer it to me. But a month or two later, at the festival in Black, held at MacArthur Park, I smoked a Sherm with Lynn after she cornrowed my hair. This time, I felt wonderful, euphoric. Later, what really caught my attention was that it didn't even seem to hinder my ability to drive iron, but appeared to enhance it. For a while, I smoked Sherm, only on the weekends and for recreational purposes. And so, from Friday to Sunday, it was on. Whatever excuse I could find for frying my brain cells, I used. The illusion was that my troubled world magically disappeared. Poof, gone, just like that. Reality and delusions intermingled in a deadly cocktail of phantasmagoria. It was a personal hell where the longer I remained in such a state, the further I was alienated from society. I failed to notice the increase in my aggression and outlandish behavior. Needless to say, jacking the local dope dealers for their supply of drug money was an act of need, greed, or for the hell of it. My homeboys and I viewed dealers as just another street gang with limited options for dealing with us Crips. Since they couldn't complain to the cops, they either had to fight us or pretend it never happened. They weren't chumps, but they were less ruthless. They were outgunned, and we had numerical advantage. In spite of my roguish lifestyle and drug use, I still managed to drive iron 6 or 7 days a week. The 69th Street duplex that Jackie and I shared was the West Side Crips embassy, where youngsters flocked around, starry-eyed and wanting mostly to watch me drive iron while James Brown, The Payback, was playing. The song had become the Crips' theme melody for retaliation. On just about any occasion, they would see Big Verdi's, Bogart, Jackie, Raymond, Big Bam, Cutes, Mouse, Big Lunatic, Rusty, Godfather, and a host of others. Young Kody, who would grow up to become known as Monster and to author a book of the same name, lived down the block. He used to show up bright and early to help stack weights, run errands, or help me wash my car. He and I would stroll to Sentinella Park or long distances to some woman's house. I preferred walking because it was the best way to be seen flashing my muscles. Sometimes Kody would sit for hours on a milk crate watching us drive iron, amazed at our size and strength. I regretted our smoking Sherm around Kody because we made it appear to be cool. Sometimes Kody joined right in and ended up zombie-like, as most of us did. Smoking Sherm, a person's behavior can range from a zombie state to streaking naked to moving in slow motion, being hyped up or immune to pain, amnesiac or becoming violent and with enormous physical strength. When my stepbrother Wayne was floating on Sherm, he sometimes moved in slow motion as if he were in another dimension. Once, while I was getting my hair braided by my sister Dimitri, Wayne was high on Sherm and got up in super slow motion to creep over to where Dimitri's friend's purse was. He took out the wallet and placed it under his jacket, then returned to his seat as if nothing had ever happened. I shook him out of his trance, and he wasn't even aware of what he had done. Though we all laughed, it was one of the most bizarre things I had ever seen. In time, I would do stranger things. Sherm was cheap, and if it was from a strong batch, a few puffs would keep you high for hours. It enhanced my mood swings, making me far less tolerable of petty things I'd normally let slide by. At the height of my aggression, I developed a terrible habit of jab slapping, spitting in somebody's face, provoke a fist fight. I'd even launched into a debasing monologue about a guy's mother, and if that failed, I'd simply knock him out. As for women, I was never hostile toward them. They were always on the agenda. No matter how high I flew on Sherm, I didn't let it interfere with my womanizing. I was fascinated with the black woman's rear end, resembling, as it does, two volleyballs tucked under tight skin. Most Crips and I felt the same way. It wasn't long before I accepted employment with the Godfather, Mad Bull, Big Curtis, and about 20 other Crips working for Wayne's mother, whose company was the CNC Dog Academy. She had no idea that her son and her new employees were Crips. The job was simple enough. All I had to do was keep an eye on a German Shepherd or a Doberman Pinscher guard dog while it patrolled a particular work site. I reported to work at a beer distribution plant in Compton, not far from Compton College. When I arrived, the dog handler was nowhere in sight, but outside the building stood a large crowd of angry strikers who were vandalizing cars and beer delivery trucks and threatening employees. Prior to my coming, the same rowdy crowd of strikers had chased off several other people standing guard. I didn't realize that the plant's boss was viewing the entire scene from a car in a nearby parking lot. For at least 30 minutes, underneath the sun, I sat in the chair with my arms crossed while observing the crowd that was whispering, pointing in my direction. A small group of 10 Caucasians, Mexicans, and blacks finally swaggered toward the left side of the lot. I got up and matched them stride for stride as I slid completely out of my shirt, ready to fight. We met in the middle of the parking lot where they stopped and stood staring at me. A short, pudgy black fellow and a tall and husky white guy took turns running off at the mouth about what they planned to do to the building and me if I tried to stop them. The black guy asked what I was going to do when all of them rushed straight at me. I responded, "I'll knock you and your hillbilly friend out first, if you're stupid enough to try me." It's just, they had the golden opportunity to rush me, but none of them was willing to be the first. I gladly would have fought them all. I knew that had I been defeated, a Crip force would have retaliated. My confidence was higher than the moon, heightened by intoxication. The following morning, the plant boss greeted me at the gate with big kudos for doing what I often did, standing up against the odds. He shook my hand in pumping fashion for about 2 minutes while stating he had watched the entire thing from the next door parking lot. He thanked me 50 times, then vowed to always be there for me if need be. But I knew he was just caught up in the moment and didn't really mean it. One night I heard several gunshots in the back of the building. Being drug inspired, I no longer feared gunshots as I scanned the back area and discovered nothing. I knew right then I'd arm myself for work. The next evening, after parking my car, I had my pump shotgun resting on my shoulder when I told the crowd that last night somebody shot several times and almost hit me. I warned them if it happened again, I'd be forced to hunt them down like dogs. I ended with a parting remark. Remember this, fools. I'm not alone. There's more of me around. My words may have been ignored, but the shotgun was respected. The following night, the strikers watched as a 10-car caravan of my homeboys and some homegirls pulled into the driveway, flashing their rifles and guns out the car windows. The music blasting from the car speakers was The Payback. Big Curtis and Godfather stepped out Crip walking, and immediately after, a group of Crips and Criplets Crip walked with their weapons gleaming from the car lights, hollering Crip here, Crip here. Some of the empty beer trucks served as mini motels. The parking lot became the dance floor, and there was a buffet table inside the building replete with cookies, donuts, cake, candy, chips, coffee, tea, and sodas. Coming to work each evening was nothing but a party or a workout session, since Jackie would show up with his car trunk filled with weights, and we work out in the parking lot. Literally, my job consisted of getting loaded, lounging, partying, working out, and using the trucks as motel rooms. There were times when I was supposed to be at work that Jackie and I were in Marina Del Rey socializing at two of the most popular clubs, the Bahama Mamas or the Jukebox Jury. Neither of us was there to dance, but only to catch a different female to take home or to at least get her phone number for a future sexual conquest. The area was really Squaresville. Fortunately for them, most Crips felt it was too far to drive to a club. I entered these clubs with an unmistakable air of malice. If I wasn't mellow on Sherm, I was sky high loaded, but either way, it didn't take much to piss me off. Crip rage was my response to just about everything, so it was no surprise that I collared a few people there.